here now, joined by a small but perfectly formed hit miss maybe team. Rob, perfect. Yeah, Rob is pointing at himself, going, "Who, me?" Yes, Rob, you're a gorgeous man, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And Guy, and Guy, our strap guru for those that tuned in to the live show. Everything else is now being ignored, and Guy is purely all about the straps. Forget about.
I need to change that reputation.
Yes, so we need to see if we can get you to comment on more than just whether it's a nice strap or whether it fits, and ruining my overall opinion of Ferdinand Berthoud.
I'm sorry about that. But then everyone agreed, so that I kind of wasn't
it was
sorry.
true that you did ruin it for me forever, Ferdinand Berthoud, because of a badly fitting, possibly quite inexpensive strap that they've put on their latest gorgeous creation. But there we go. So let's just find out who we've got and where they are and what they're wearing. Rob, where actually are you and what do you have on the wrist?
So I'm in Dresden, in Germany, about 40 minutes away from Glasgow, the horological heartland of the nation. It's where I live.
I think, Rob, do you see that every time somebody in the watch community asks you where you live? Say, I live in Dresden. It's quite close to Glasgow.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, just to sort of hammer home how much of a fangirl I am of Glasgow watches. But today I'm not wearing Glasgow. Today I am wearing my Arcanaut Arc 2 Groovy Fordite piece, obviously repping the brand. So that's cool. From Denmark. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Piece unique, like most of the all of the Fordite pieces and many of the other pieces that they make.
Cool. With the demise of the car industry in Europe, do they eventually run out of Fordite?
Guaranteed. It's not even anything to do with the current state of the car market. The kind of Fordite that you need to make a dial this hard and resilient no longer exists because it's the old illegal paints, the solvent ones that aren't. They after the end of the 90s or mid 90s, it stopped being viable. Now it's all water based and it falls to bits. We tried to do it with some McLaren P1 paint to make like a special one, and it just like flaked off and it was rubbish. So yeah, there is a finite resource and we are running out.
Excellent. Well, I only wish I'd been into watches earlier because I used to own what was a defunct truck and bus factory which had a massive paint shop in it, but unfortunately we demolished it. But I'll give you a wee contact after the show. There we go. Guy, where are you and what are you wearing?
On the sunny south coast near Bournemouth, wearing a prototype of the D-Trash, what we call the Gotham's Vigilante. It's definitely not called Batman because that would be a trademark infringement.
Good stuff. And I'm in Scotland wearing a Panerai because I refused to wear the D-Trash that Guy has sent me because of Ferdinand Berthoud. So the straps
are so much nicer than the Ferdinand Berthoud.
Strapgate, we're now calling it. Good stuff. Right, well, let's have a look and review some watches now. I will share the screen. We did on last week's show posit the theory that it was impossible to ruin the Cartier Santos. And then Guy, I think it was yourself, pointed out in the chat that maybe Cartier had taken up the challenge of ruining the Cartier Santos by producing the Cartier Santos-Dumont Rewind watch. Rob, did you see this in Geneva?
I did, yeah. It's a handsome model in real life.
Good stuff. Well, without further ado, other than saying this is basically a watch you can't tell the time on sensibly, let's give it a hit, a miss, or a maybe. So on the count of three, Rob, I'm going to put a drum roll into this because this is the first unveiling of your official hit, miss, maybe signage. 1, 2, 3, go. Hit, miss, or maybe. Maybe, and a miss. So 2 maybes and a miss. Guy, tell us why it's a miss.
Well, I'm assuming we can't judge this on design of the Dumont because the design of the Dumont is like amazing and classic and all time. So take that out because it's obviously a beautiful watch to look at. It's stupid because it works backwards. And I think like the other watches that do something clever that have come out at Watches and Wonders, like the IWC we talked about, like the pocket watch we talked about last time, I feel like at least that's hard to do. Like it's really hard to make a watch that works for 45 million years or whatever it is. I can't imagine it's. I don't know that much about the technicalities of watchmaking, but I can't imagine it's that hard to make a watch that works backwards. Um, and my other point of comparison was the Frank Muller. I think it's called the jump hour that always tells the time, but the hours are in the wrong places. It's
Crazy
like
hours, yeah.
the crazy hours. Sorry, it's like that's clever. To do that feels like an amazingly clever bit of engineering to tell the time in a weird way. This doesn't feel like a clever way to tell the time badly.
Yeah. Rob, is it just as simple as flipping the movement over to make it run backwards?
Well, there are a couple of ways you can do it. Some more complex than others. It's uh, it's not the most complicated thing, and people don't indulge in it very often because, as Guy says, it's a bit stupid. If you think the primary function of a watch is to tell the time, then maybe it's not the most intuitive way forward. Although there is at least one man in the industry that would ardently disagree with you, and that's David Henderson Stewart of Raketa, you know, the Russian brand.
Yeah.
Because he actually has watches that run backwards already, and he is absolutely adamant that it's the natural way to tell the time because of the way that the sun travels across the sky. He's explained this to me on multiple occasions in person. I've never been wholly convinced, to be honest, but he definitely is. He definitely is. So
See, I've seen that point actually.
No, but hold on a second. Surely if you just turn... Hold on. If so the sun goes, but surely if you just face the other direction, it's going the other way.
it's something to do with like the passage of the sun over like a gnomon in a sundial, and he's like,
Right,
we've just been
okay.
conditioned to read time from like, left to right. And I'm like, well, we read in the West, at least we read from left to right. Just everything seems to flow in that direction. It feels like forward motion to me. Most of us wear our watches on our left wrist, and again, the hands are sort of going forwards as in away from you, which makes more intuitive sense. But look, I gave it a maybe and not a miss simply because it is a Cartier Santos and it's beautiful. Like, it's a gorgeous watch. If it told the time properly, then it would get a definite hit, 100%. You know, these like rich colors like the burgundies, the greens and the blues, they really work on that platform. So love the watch. Yeah, but maybe because it's a bit silly.
Yeah, I think that's why I would give it a maybe. It's just stupid. It's not big, it's not clever, and it's not going to win you any more friends. It does lead into the whole idea of how many people wear their watches simply as jewellery. And if you're going to wear a watch as jewellery, then a gorgeous burgundy dialed Santos with is it a ruby cabochon? I don't know if it
Looks
is a
like
ruby
it.
or if it's, then, there isn't many prettier watches than a Santos that's dressed up like this. For sure, but $38,500 to not be able to tell the time. As you say, I could buy a $500 Raketa to not be able to tell the time. I'm voting maybe on this one. Be very interested to know because you get like your 24-hour time tellers, your single hander, so like your cosmonauts. Your what's the brand that does the single handers? Meistersinger, and it doesn't take as long as you would think to get used to reading the time like that. I am curious as to whether this is just so counterintuitive, literally counterintuitive, that it actually does take a long time to be able to read it. And it's one of these things. By the time you need to tell the time has moved significantly on that. The time is already wrong because it took you that long to figure
I
out
think
what
you're
the time
right
actually
because
was.
it looks too much. Like if you compare it to like a Gerald Genta Mickey Mouse watch. Like at least it doesn't look like a normal watch, so you instinctively have to work out how it tells the time. Whereas this, it looks like it. I mean, that watch in the picture is at 10 to 2 in my head, but actually it's at
What time
10
actually is it?
10.
It's
No, it's not. Is it?
No, is it not 10 to 10?
No, you're right. I think
No.
it is 10 past because I thought it was 10
Oh,
to
that's
10 as
going
well.
11.
It's 10
It
past.
must be 10
Okay,
past.
it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's 10 past 10. Yes, it is
That's-
10 past 10. See,
Yeah.
any watch where you need to have a conversation, a bit of group therapy session to try and figure out what time it is you're right. It is 10 past 10 because that's moving towards 11.
I saw a cartoon of somebody using it as an excuse to be late for work, which
But then
again, though, none of those stories make sense because if you've got $38,500 to spend on a watch, you're not late for work, are you? You're your own boss.
See, the thing is, it runs backwards, but also, it's saying that it's 10 to 10, no, 10 past 10, but should they also have put that backwards?
and the logo.
And the
You could have
X22
inverted the logo the other way.
inverted an inverted watch where the whole everything is a mirror image. Would that be right? I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right.
That I get.
The numerals should be the other way around. 100%.
Rob's having, anyone watching on video, Rob's having a moment.
I'm having a moment. I've got an extra accessory. Like, so if you have everything inverted, you can have like a bejeweled bangle with like a complex system of mirrors above it, so you can then reflect the dial and look like read it from a different
You
angle.
need a full hunter case front that's got the mirror on the top of it. You know, like those sundials you can buy for your wrist.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, flip it on a mirror and you read the mirror.
You should be able to do that. That should be how if it works perfectly in a mirror. But this doesn't work perfectly in a mirror because the logo is wrong and the numerals are wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that should have been the test for it. Or it should have just put a normal movement in, had a beautiful red Cartier Santos, and I'd have really liked it.
What a great idea. So
I vote for that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm now going to... So anyone who's listening to this, you're now going to have heard like 4 minutes of just bleep because we've just had the most marvellous idea for a watch that we're going to make, and we don't want to let you all in on what the secret is. So,
Just
welcome
to check,
back
is
to
the
the
marvelous
show.
idea... Is the marvelous idea red Cartier Dumont, or is it the mirror version?
No, it's the mirror version. Come on. Come on, guy, keep up. Right. So that's our Cartier chat. Next up, and this is one specifically for Guy. This is going to be the Patek Philippe revives the classic Nautilus chronograph with reference 5980-60G, or more importantly, it appears to have a denim strap. So, Rob, did you see this one at Watches and Wonders, and is it a denim strap?
Yeah. I don't know the...
Without further ado, a hit, a miss, or a maybe?
Oh, God.
Yeah, 2 hits and a maybe. I shouldn't like this. Why am I giving this a hit? It's so wrong, but it's so right. And it's all yours for probably stupid money. Let me scroll. For 67,000 Swiss francs for 1/1800th of a pair of jeans on your wrist. Yeah, I like this far too much. And I'm not normally a fan of these chronographs. I'm not normally a fan of Patek, but I really like this, Rob. Join me in my therapy session. Why do you like this?
Yeah, so it was very close to being a maybe for me. And I changed it because I love it. I had it as a maybe in my mind because I was like, well, I think the denim strap or that any kind of aesthetic like that is very un-Patek. And so I was going to vote based on a branding perspective. But to be quite honest, it's an absolutely gorgeous watch. The colorway works. I'm a fan of fabric or textured straps, at least. The watch head itself is a stunner. It's a beautiful dial color. I love Nautilus chronographs. I mean, 67,000 francs. If you can get it at that price, and if you have that kind of money to burn, it's fine given the current collection and what it goes for. So, yeah, it's I think it's undeniably. Well, not undeniably, obviously. If you hate blue and if you hate denim and if you hate watches, it's a piece of crap. But if I think it's undeniably beautiful. Like, it's a good design. Is it very Patek? No. Is that a terrible thing? In this case, maybe not. So That's why it got my vote.
Guy, do you hate watches, hate blue, hate denim?
I do. I am going to get rid of my reputation by not commenting on the strap at all, and just leave that to the Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears fans out there to work out that one, or even the Cause, if anyone remembers them. I gave it a maybe. I gave it a maybe. I was like, do you know what? I've not seen many chronographs like this, and I saw it at first, and I was like, oh, I quite like that. It's quite clever. Um, and then I saw the dual time ones. I thought the dual time ones were really nice with like the kind of slightly skeleton-y hand. I really like those. The reason it's a maybe and not a hit is that if I was to get a Nautilus, which I'm not doing anytime soon, but if I were to get a Nautilus, the chronograph would probably be at the back of the queue versus like the three hand or the dual time. Like it's kind of clever and it's kind of neat, but it's such a kind of pure watch without it, the pure design. I don't think the chronograph enhances it in any way. Whereas actually as a three hander, it's a lot nicer watch. That's the only reason I go. It's a nice watch, but if you put the dual time, the three hand, and this in front of me and said pick one, this would always be at the back of the queue.
Well, at least it doesn't have to have the word home written at the bottom of it to somehow remind you whether you're
Well, there is
home
that.
or away. But we'll not deal with that particular Patek heresy on today's show. Next up, we're gonna kind of do a bit of a group review from a brand that was at the show, and this is Zenith. So Zenith had a number of iterations on the Defy. So they had this Zenith Defy Revival, the Zenith Defy Extreme as the diver. I don't have it to hand for some reason, but the Zenith Defy Chronograph. So overall, a vote based on Zenith for Watches and Wonders. Was it a hit of a show, a miss of a show, or a maybe of a show? 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah. Ooh. I thought that was coming into focus as a hit from dear Rob, but it was coming as a miss. Rob, tell us why this is a miss. You surprise me.
I hate to do this. I really do, because I love what Zenith has tried to do here for a couple of reasons. I think, well, I've been banging the drum for a sort of early 2000s revival for quite a while, like the kind of big Breitling what do we say, chronomat style, the sort of glossy polished Roman numerals, bright colors, like wacky oversized watches for ages. And this release it felt like it came right out of 2009, like the colors and the size of the things on the wrist was really, really surprising to me. I love that Zenith has been experimental. I love that they've taken a punt on it. But the two things that really stuck with me was I don't see Zenith in these releases very much at all. The Defy on the screen right now with the orange bezel, the throwback, the revival, the A3648 is obviously, drawn from the heritage, but it's a weird watch on the wrist. It's bigger than I expected. It wears a lot bigger. It's very top heavy. It's not elegant. It has a pretty standard Zenith Elite movement inside of it. And I believe that one in particular retails for about 7,700 US, and the other ones are over 10. And that's my second bugbear with it, is the price. Because I'm looking at these pieces in the context of the brand, what you can get for a similar price, and what you can get from other brands at a similar price as well. And I think that I'm convinced that other brands have more to offer at that particular price point. So, yeah, I don't know. I want to love it. I love the brand of Zenith. I love the El Primero. I've got a huge soft spot for that. But it's just not enough here for what's being charged and what other brands are doing to make me say, yeah, this is gonna be a hit.
Yeah. Will's not here. We've retired Will and he's flip flopping, so maybe I have to change my mind from a hit to a maybe not a miss. I mean, I'm a big fan of Zenith. Just you've got me wondering. So I think I would like to try on the Extreme Diver. I'm not a big fan, it has to be said, of the revival stuff. I think there's a reason why it had to be revived, and it probably shouldn't have been. Like, keep your history in the past. There's a reason why you moved on. But the Extreme Diver, I think there's a bit of cognitive distance because I just don't associate Zenith with diving watches. I associate them with chronographs. And so this, yeah, is maybe a bit like that. It just doesn't feel like it's a Zenith. But I suspect it's probably made to the Zenith quality, which is always great in my opinion. And so these will feel really, really good to actually wear and use. And they're dead clear. They're nice and chunky, which suits me as a Panerai wearer. Guy, your thoughts? Do you have a favourite out of these three?
Yeah, I mean, you're almost convincing me down to a maybe. I think that my instinctive reaction when I saw it was, it's nice that someone's trying to be a bit different, trying to be a bit colourful, trying to, bring some stuff to it. It's got a weird mix of like geometric shapes and circles that come in. It's way expensive, the diver. I mean, you've got to compare it. It's, what is it, 20% more than a sub, which is kind of a benchmark. So it's like, who's going to buy it? But I just kind of like that they're doing something a bit different in a world of quite a lot of copycats. And I think some of the revival stuff's good. I really like, is it the Chronomaster Revival, which is a bit small, but it's kind of cool. Which is an old one. I like Zenith as a brand, so I didn't want to be too mean to them. I think they've got some nice watches in there. But yeah, I'm kind of between I was a hit, but I'm going towards a maybe now. It's got some, I think it's good stuff.
I love it. I love Zenith, but how many Zeniths would you buy, Guy, before you got down to buying this one? Really?
Yeah, but I do think they're probably kind of overpriced for what they are. The Skyline's not that one actually is the really nice one.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
Cool.
that's lovely.
Rob,
I also like the Skyline. Good. That's more what I expect from Zenith. I could get on board with that one, absolutely. And yeah, like I said, I just feel like there's a lot of Zeniths I would buy before I bought either of those new models. And I don't feel like I'm missing out by not having them.
cool. Right. Final for today. We'll just keep it short and snappy. But final for today is actually going to be this as a surprise. The bold solid gold Tudor Black Bay 58 18K watch. A solid gold Black Bay from brand Rolex that retails at 32,100 USD on the solid gold bracelet, or 18 grand if you just want the case to be solid gold. So with what you know and what you've seen, is this a hit, a miss, or a maybe? I've just changed my mind. I've just gone from miss to hit. We have a hit, a miss, and two misses. Yeah, this is let's face it, this is a miss. Who in their right mind is buying a $32,000 gold Tudor? But see if you had more money than sense, which anyone spending 32 grand on anything probably does have more money than sense. Why would you not buy this? Because it's fundamentally gorgeous looking. It's just a great looking watch. Whether it would stay good looking for very long, I think somewhat of a debate. Rob, you gave it a miss. How long do you think you could keep this in pristine condition?
About 8 seconds, probably. The finish is nice.
Would it take you longer to read the time off the Cartier or longer to scratch this up?
Definitely the Cartier, yeah, This would be scratched up, but the finish is good. At least it's not got polished surfaces all over the place. So, yeah, it's fine as a watch. It's very dull. The dial and the bezel color are just very drab and a bit grim, and it reminds me of the weather back home. So, as much as that touches a certain part of my soul, it's not what I want on my wrist. Always. And to your point, like, if you've got more money than sense, everybody in the world only has so many parcels of $32,100 in their bank, and there's a lot of other things I would spend those on before I got to this. Like, even what kind of watches? Imagine the watches you could have. For me, this doesn't make any sense. Nobody asked for it. It's maybe goes back to what I said at the top of the show of a lot of brands like chucking out these precious metal pieces to set a marker point that further justifies the hikes of the lower end collection.
Yeah.
Tudor had some interesting releases this year that were what people were after. Maybe not exactly, but this to me was not one of them. And it's just boring. And I don't want to spend 32 grand on boring.
I do like this strap buckle.
Well, buy the strap then.
That's quite.
You have the strap.
I think that's quite clever that someone's thought to put the Tudor wave, so to speak, into the buckle. I'm quite impressed with that. Guy, you gave it a miss.
Well, I think if you like the look of it, I mean, I saw it and I thought it was they did a Harrods special edition one in green, and I thought it was that one, and you can get that one for a third of the price. And I like Tudor is the $5 grand, kind of 3-5 grand market. Why? Like that's. I actually think it's kind of. I see Rob's point actually of kind of the halo pricing effect of, Hermes do a 30 grand bag because suddenly a 3 grand one looks cheap, but.
Guy's currently going in and he said, how quickly can I make a gold D-trash to then uplift the price of entry level? Recycled gold, it's a thing.
But there is a thing, but I almost think it's brand damaging for them because they are not. Tudor isn't a 30 grand watch brand. It's like a single digits watch brand. It's a good few grand watch brand, and that's how they should be thought of. And they've done really well at that mark, and the other watches they brought out. I mean, I still think whether it was planned or not by the Rolex group to bring out the Coke that everyone thought was going to be a Rolex as a Tudor. I thought that was a stroke of genius on purpose or not. I think this is. I don't understand who's buying a 30 grand Tudor. I think it's.
Yeah.
And they're not a crazy brand. Like Cartier can do it. Cartier can be like, yeah, buy a 30 grand watch that tells the time backwards. It doesn't work. But that's not the brand of Tudor.
It's that meme where they're all sitting around the board table and somebody makes a suggestion and then gets thrown out the window. The suggestion that needed to be made was the Tudor, it needs to be gold, but it also needs to tell the time backwards. And that is, especially as it's only got our marker, it's only got like pip markers. Tell the time backwards, and it's not even got any numerals on it to help. That's what we need. Anyway, great stuff. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. It does feel like this show has mainly been about brands ruining themselves by producing certain products that maybe they should just have kept clear of. But I am sure in the weeks to come, we will dig more into the releases and the consequences. We'll be back with a lot more actual news next week rather than just continuing the reviews of Watches and Wonders, and we'll welcome back hopefully Ariel and Ripley and these guys maybe to another hit miss. Maybe thank you for tuning in, and hopefully next week we'll be live on YouTube when we record, so if you're around on a Tuesday morning, go to the aBlogtoWatch channel and you can tune into that. But goodbye from me, and goodbye from these two. Goodbye.
Bye.